For almost 50 years, the Crusaders had made the Holy Land their home. Fortresses were shining with tall walls, Christian knights were shouting slogans of victory, and the Muslim world was shattered, as if weak, divided, and powerless. But then, from that darkness, a man emerged. A man who filled the hearts of the Crusaders with fear. A man who lit a fire that kept burning for generations. His name, Imad ad-Din Zengi, the man who began the end of the Crusaders. Year 1099. Jerusalem had completely fallen. The Crusaders had established their states on Muslim lands, from Antioch to Edessa. For years, Muslim rulers were fighting among themselves, some emir fighting with another, and elsewhere the politics of caliphs and sultans. A broken system where Crusaders were advancing in peace. By the 1120s, it seemed that perhaps the Crusaders would make their place forever. But history never walks in a straight direction. Then enters Zengi, son of a Turkic general, raised in wars since childhood, hardened by betrayals, and grown up with a mission. His only purpose was to crush the Crusaders and bring Muslim power back. Like true rulers, Zengi had no liking for glass palaces or luxury. His life had been spent in the saddle of a horse. He would eat with common soldiers and fight at the front line with his sword against the enemy. In 1127, he became governor of Mosul, and from there, he started bringing different cities one by one under his flag. Aleppo, Mosul, Harran, all came under his control. But Zengi did not only want to take land. His thought was, as long as Muslims kept fighting among themselves, Crusaders would always win. He tried to build a system to turn the storm into a united sword. But for that unity, Zengi had to become a brutal ruler. Even his own friends were afraid of him. He killed enemies mercilessly and crushed rebellion immediately. For some, he was the sword of Islam, and for others a bloodthirsty beast. And then comes the year 1144, the time that changed everything. Edessa, the first and the oldest fortress of the Crusaders, was like a dagger in the heart of Muslim lands. For decades, no Muslim leader had the courage to touch it, but Zengi was different. He laid siege to Edessa. He placed Mongols to break the walls, dug tunnels beneath the towers, cut off the supply routes. Inside the city, chaos spread. For the first time, Crusaders were facing a Muslim leader who was never going to lose. And finally, Edessa fell. Thousands of people were killed, and the undefeatable image of the Crusaders shattered in one blow. When this news reached Europe, a storm erupted. Anger, fear, everything. From this began the Second Crusade. But the real fact was, now the tide had turned, and it was because of Zengi. But Zengi could not see the full impact of his victory. In 1146, only 2 years after the fall of Edessa, he was killed in his sleep by his own servant. His life ended, but his mission remained alive. His son, Nur ad-Din, came forward, and then Nur ad-Din's successor, Salahuddin Ayyubi, Saladin, the one who later reclaimed Jerusalem. And it all began with Zengi. Maybe his name is not as famous as Salahuddin Ayyubi, but in reality, without Zengi, there would not even be Salahuddin. He was that flame, that first spark who changed the course of the war against the Crusaders. So next time you hear the mention of the Crusades, remember, before Salahuddin, there was Zengi, warlord, conqueror, and the man who shattered Edessa and broke the spell of the Crusaders. If you like this story, then like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it, because history is not just a game of dates. It is the story of those people who had the courage to change the world.